So I think in the public imagination, sometimes there's this, well, we're at the film festival, and then, distributors are, trying to grab you and put you in a conference room and tell you, here's how much money we're going to give you to distribute your film. And then there's the reality of what happened. So it's sort of, and I know that didn't happen like at one moment, but were there offers from distributors? Were there rejections from distributors? And when did you get to a point where, you made the decision, ultimately to sort of release the film yourself?
Totally. Great question. Well, you're absolutely right. I had this image in my head of like, oh, the distributors will be there, especially after we got some steam and we were showing up at like Fantasia Film Festival in Montreal, which is an excellent festival. And then even Sitges in Spain. Like, these are big deal genre festivals, and we felt like honored to be there. And I kept looking for that room. I was like, guys, where's the room? Where's the room where all the distributors are like,
where's the room with the money? Right.
Yeah. Like, where do I have these conversations? Cause all we're doing is just drinking a lot. Where's the, where do I do the business? And so like, I found out like, you network at the fest and you meet people and you start learning how it works and you ask questions, and people are really like, really kind and open because we're just trying to figure it out. And then, we had some conversations with all kinds of great indie distributors, great genre distributors. But the trouble is the market is really bad. And we have a risky movie, on the surface, it's black and white. There's no dialogue. There's no stars you've ever heard of, right? The guys had made their first movie, but it's a bit of a cult hit, but it doesn't have wide awareness. So like, as a businessman, I got it, but the data that they didn't have, or like the pieces that they didn't have, is they hadn't seen it playing all over the world. At that point, late last year, I had seen it playing everywhere from Europe to Beloit, Wisconsin, to bigger cities. And so,
but at some point they had somebody. I mean, I understand at the first festival there wasn't an audience, but at some point, did someone see it playing with an audience?
Yeah, at Fantasia. I mean, we won the audience award. We won one of the audience awards at Fantasia.
Incredible.
And so I think the other thing was like, putting what we heard a lot was that like, it's very expensive to do a theatrical run, right? You have to support it. And they just weren't sure they could clear it. They couldn't make the math work. So everyone was very kind, but we just, by the end of last year, we sort of hit a stopping point, and we just were like, well, what do we do here? So
you are at that moment that so many filmmakers get to right there, which is you don't get the offer. You don't, maybe you're even coming out of a big festival like Sundance or Tribeca, and you don't get the offer. What do you do? So you have to then at that moment weigh, well, maybe the world's trying to tell me something, I'm going to drop this. Or you do what you did and take it from there, I guess.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's exactly right. And the cool, like when you make a movie and you and the production company own the intellectual property, like that's really valuable, and you can do a lot of things with that. I remember I drew up on a whiteboard. I just drew up a bunch of like boxes on a shelf that was like, TVOD, this is our transactional video on demand. AVOD, this is advertising video. We have all these rights we can sell. Let's get strategic about what we think we can actually do something with on our own, like that we have the skills and the willpower to do. And let's just sell off the rest and hope like a great partner can like make it work with us. So that's, it really ended up being like a hybrid self-distribution where, I'll never forget Ryan from the Music Box, the manager there, who's become a huge ally for us. He suggested the booker, Jessica. You guys you can hire her. Like, she's independent. We had a great PR person, Justin Cook. And so we're like, well, we're going to keep theatrical because I think we can figure out how to get this movie in theaters, and no one else wants to. So we're going to just try. We're going to keep transactional video on demand, which is like Amazon whenever you rent it, those kinds of things. And then we're going to sell some of this other stuff. We'll keep merchandise because we love merch. It's a very merchandisable movie. Right. And then, we partnered with Cineverse and Fandor, and they're doing great. And they just sold it to Tubi. So it actually comes out on Tubi next week, which is cool too. Right. So like, and then for international, we partnered with Raven Banner. They're a sales group out of Fantasia. And so, we have a constellation of partners who can sort of advise us, but we're also holding some of those like the products that we felt needed the most love and care. We held on to those pieces so that we could do what we did.
Yeah. And was it, and so were the pieces that you sold, was that to raise funds for P&A, or did you go out again to your investors and get another round of funding for the P&A? How did that sort of, what was the decision-making process there?
Yes, the answer is yes. Yes. Well, so in my day job, I'm a marketing planner. So I have an edge here, right? Like, so I understand, okay, if we can march, so we had about $20,000 between the MG that we got for some of our rights that we sold off, and then we did have another
MG is a minimum guarantee, by the way.
Yes, so sorry, thank you.
MG
it's like an advance
so who was the MG from?
From Fandor. Yeah, so they paid us for those AVOD and some of those streaming rights.
Fantastic, fantastic.
And so yeah, we took that seed money. We had about $20,000, and we used that to hire the booker and the PR agent, and then we literally the strategy was, let's just talk to cities where we've already played and had a good festival run in an art house theater, because it was part of a festival. They remember us. It's hard to forget us. And let's ask them to play another show in a concentrated period. We'll do 2 weeks. We'll just do it. We'll literally treat it like an indie band. We'll drive around in a van. We'll wrestle some beavers in the audience, and we'll have a good time. And, and maybe that'll work. And if it doesn't work, then, on the next thing. Like, so then though, once that started getting momentum, I called it the chaotic snowball strategy. Like, we were just throwing everything at the wall to see what would stick, to get the snowball rolling downhill. And then as it was rolling, then we saw, okay, this is going to work. We sold out almost every screening on that Great Lakes Roadshow. We have this amazing show coming up in New York at IFC. We have oh my God, like Greg Lemley's going to let us play multiple nights. What the hell's going on? So with all that, we would just take the ticket money from the shows and reinvest it right into the campaign. So we would just keep kind of reinvesting. And I think in total, I mean, I can be very transparent about the money we spent on the run, if that's valuable for anyone. We maybe spent about $30,000 in paid advertising. And the rest was just travel and getting to the theaters and doing Q&As and putting on a show. And in New York, we flew in a lot of the cast. It was more like producing a vaudeville show, which I think works really well in these theaters, than it was in just releasing a movie. So we were kind of doing both at once.